And he was enjoying that. Why? Because the sweetness of Iman, once it resonates in a Muslim's heart, this dunya has no value before your eye. Why? Because my aim in this life is to please Allah the Exalted and to win His love and to win His promise, subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you see Allah's promise presented explicitly and immensely in the Quran, and when you have a great, trust and certitude that Allah is haqq and the Quran is haqq and Muhammad is haqq, true. That's why the message finds a place into your heart, and you value it, and you're not willing to compromise at any way for that. So later on, he was living a very simple life, very poor life. Of course, the Sahaba, they were living such a life, including the Prophet himself, peace be upon him. They were not living an extravagant life. Very simple life, very modest life. In fact, the Prophet himself, Aisha would describe how his life was. She said a moon and 2 and 3 would pass, meaning 3 months would pass and no food is cooked in the house of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is when he was the ruler of Medina. Imagine, he was the ruler of not Mecca. When he was the ruler of Medina, this was his situation. So he feels for the companions. If there is any mean that he can support them, he would not hesitate to do so. Alayhi salatu wassalam. So that's why Musab ibn Umair, when he moved to the new life, abandoned all the luxury life that he was upon. He was enjoying the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, enjoying being a Muslim who follows Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in fact, later on the Prophet, when he came back to Mecca, after he went to Al-Habasha, Ethiopia, the Prophet sent him to teach the new reverts of Medina. They were still in Mecca. So when he went to Medina, Musab ibn Umair was a reason for many households in Medina to accept Islam. He was giving the Jum'ah ceremony, he was leading the prayer, and the heads of the tribes of Medina, even some of them, accepted Islam because of his da'wah, radiyallahu anhu. So look, this guy, where he was a young man, and where he became. Yes, in this life, he was maybe ahead of so many, having a luxurious life, right? But when he became a Muslim, a believer, a da'iyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was still ahead of many of the companions, because he was appointed to carry the banner of promulgating Islam to the others, teaching, conveying Allah's deen to the others. And he was successful in introducing Islam to many people who were in Medina. فَرَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ. And he was able to attend the battle of Badr with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the battle of Uhud, and he was carrying the banner during the battlefield itself. And when he was carrying the banner, one of the enemies of Islam, one of the pagans of Mecca, Ibn Qami'ah, he took the sword and hit his hand until it was cut. And he held the flag with the other arm. And he hit him in the other hand, it was cut, and he was holding it between his shoulders, radiyallahu anhu, until that man picked up a spear and he killed Mus'ab ibn Umair, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So look how much he was standing firm to provide and to make sure that Islam is not attacked from his side. He does not resemble Islam in a negative way. He was working so hard to be a good example for others to follow, radiyallahu anhu. And when they were to bury him, radiyallahu anhu, the companions said to the Prophet, we do not have enough piece of clothes to cover him as a shroud. And they found only a very short piece of cloth for him. They said, okay, if we cover his head, his feet are revealed. If we cover his feet, his head is revealed, radiyallahu anhu. And they said, the Prophet said to them, okay, cover his head and put some of the idkhir, some of the grasses or ushb on his feet and put him in the grave. So this is how Musab ibn Umair was living, and how he started a new life, and how he was among those advocates of the deen who was very keen to spread Islam and convey it to the others. So when we look to our lifestyle, ya ikhwan, sadly speaking, maybe so many of us may compromise their deen for the slightest, enticement coming from this dunya. Somebody offer you something so little, and we swiftly run and give up our deen in order to win this materialistic profit, which may be so minimal in some cases. And compare that to the companions who had given this luxurious lifestyle, having fancy clothes, fancy perfume, giving up all that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No person will reach such level unless really